Greetings and salutations. What's going on, IRL Nation? Back again with another episode. Today, I like it, man. I got some good stuff for you guys today. Might be a little sentimental, might be a little soul searching. You know, we're in this weird. Earth is just what a sitcom. You know what I'm saying? Like what a drama. Ooh, man, Earth definitely got its own channel on intergalactic cable. I'm just saying, man. We live in some wild times. Just know, I see you. I'm in your corner. It's hard out here grinding it out every day. I know. You got somebody here, though. I see you. Keep it up. You're doing good. Let's get into today's show, y'all.
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
Yeah. All right, today's show. I'm telling you guys, get ready. I'm trying to get to your soul here a little bit. So, first topic I got for you guys today. All right, we're going to talk about the future of relationships. Yeah, this is it's on everybody's mind today, man. I swear, everybody I talk to, oh hey, you know somebody? Hey, are they crazy? They got enough like crazy in them? It's the dating game is not something to be trifled with, especially today, man. In 2023, almost 2024, it is. I don't even want to call it dating. I mean, I'm from a different era, man. Like you, I'm not used to this whole interrogation process. I'm not trying to give you all of my background information in one sit down and then have you take off. It's such a crazy time to try and find somebody to just exist together with. It's wild. There's a couple things, man, that got me concerned about the future of relationships. First thing that is kind of popping up that I've been paying attention to for a while now is this male loneliness. And I don't mean like we ain't out here getting it. You know, like it's not that. It's the loneliness of not having the brotherhood, not having the person at home to confide in. It's the loneliness that all of us, I think, are feeling, men and women, to just have that social connection, to have that human connection, those relationships that are deep connecting, that you really just aren't finding in society anymore. Well, probably because it's not valued. So, male loneliness, female loneliness, I think it's more. I think there's more corporate influence in there as well, because we're just in a world now where things are different. Men are different, women are different. Like the stats prove it. There's so many different things that are happening in the world now. Technology is really leveled the playing field, and we're trying to figure this thing out where, I mean, really, we're trying to figure out how to be families again with all this new stuff, right? Family isn't a value that you find much in society anymore. And that's kind of why I believe civilization is collapsing, because there's no nucleus anymore. There's no drive for generational type, living. And so it kind of comes down to the expectations of things, right? What are you going into this life looking for? What are you trying to gain? I'm listening to a lot of people. I talk to some, I guess you call them manosphere people. I've, pay attention to all these female dating coaches. I'm out here, man. I'm trying to find it myself. So when I hear about these expectations for relationships now, like especially for a man. Like, do you know the resume I have to bring to the table just to even get a chance nowadays? Like, it's so hard to find someone that wants to ask me a question like, "Oh, what's your character? What do you do for fun?" Like, there, that doesn't happen anymore. It's, what's your bank account look like? What can you offer me? What have you done for me lately? Like, it's this whole competition over resources that, if we just sat down and talked about what really matters in life, maybe we could just, start ignoring some of these BS things that aren't helping us anyways. So, the future relationships, man, when you project what's happening, you got the divorce rate for, you know, Americans at 80%, or not 80%, but the 50%, 80% of it's women. So clearly women are fed up with men. You got just, marriage, like the marriage rate itself is falling off a cliff since the pandemic. So not only are people getting divorced like at a crazy high rate, people just aren't getting married anymore at a crazy high rate. And what's that say about families? What's that say about kids? Like, we have so many different societal foundational things that we're not paying attention to because of all the different craziness that's happening. We forget that these relationships, like these one-on-one relationships, matter. Having your homies matters. Having your girlfriends matter. Having the boys around, having the girls around, having your grandparents passing on knowledge, having the uncles, the fun uncles and aunties who, drive the parents crazy. Like, there's certain things about life that are intrinsic to family, and that family makes civilization worth it. You know what I mean? I want to pass everything on I can to my kids, and I want grandkids to learn from them. And that's how you create sustainability. That's how you create some of the best things about life and I believe through family. So what do we do, man? Like, what do we do about it? Because it's my job to change the things I can change, right? There's things I can't, but if I got power to change something, and I see I want change, I got to do it. So changing it, man. So what are some of the, let's call it checkpoints for the future of relationships? I think social media got to go. Like, social media got to go. It wasn't like this until social media, gave everybody access to the world. When you grew up in a small town in Indiana, population 2,000, you knew everybody. You knew who you were going to be able to date. You knew, like, the pretty people were going to get with the pretty people. You knew if you were average, you got what average. Like, it's like it now. If you're a 10 in Indiana, you can jump on the internet and social media and put yourself out there and get flown out to Miami, to New York. Let's go international, Dubai. Like, you can go, like, now you have access to the world through social media, and you got men willing to basically care package you out of your situation. Like, there wasn't this access with social media. And I think that if you're attractive enough to where you can get somebody to fly you out and pay your bills, like, there's only a certain amount of people who can do that. Like, to just pick somebody up out of a piece of a country and redeploy them into a different part of a country, like in another place. Like, there's only so many people who can do that. And now that seems to be the only standard for relationships to succeed. And I don't even want to call that success, but you look at the wildness of dating, of relationships, even just, and again, relationships in general between friends and coworkers and deep friends and best friends. Like, you look at these things, they're trying to find their way back to, society, and modern things just aren't built the same. Whew. This is one of them hot buttons for me, man, because I'm out here trying to get this done. I'm looking for answers. and this is why I think a lot of us are too. So 2 cents in, right? Ugh. social media access gotta go. We gotta limit that to your region. Like you gotta stay in your state. I don't know. But I also think too, there's really no incentive right now on even the business end of it, where if you get married, it's just too easy for the richer of the two people to have to sacrifice whatever they built, half of whatever they built, to the other person. Like it's just like that's just laws. Like the way the system is structured is just completely imbalanced. And that's why part of this is making like that's why this is being such a difficult thing, right? Because when you got law saying this can only happen this way, like, oh, well, that sucks. I don't want to do that. The only way I don't get the only way I don't get messed over on these laws is if I don't participate, which, okay, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing people checking out and just hoping for things to change. Meanwhile, ain't nothing changing. So maybe it's time to go back to the village, y'all. Maybe it's time for 150 of us to just go somewhere to a new town and say bye and just to try to start this thing over again. I don't know. That's something I think could be a way out for society, I guess, to be able to salvage relationships in our future, right? As a species, kind of. And then, like, another part of it, because it's so weird, man, we got this strange dichotomy where these extremists are taken as like the majority when they're not. You got one party over here screaming about, expectations and this is my laundry list and it's got to be this or my way or the highway. And like, that's just a small percentage of people that are just the loudest part versus the people who don't want to give up their entire life and what they built their entire life to some ungrateful person who's incentivized to take half. Like there's no incentive, there's no tax break, there's no like there's no worth it factor anymore in regards to even getting married. So you have those two minorities combating, while the rest of us, the majority, the actual majority, are like, yo, I'm just trying to find somebody to make it with. Like, like, yeah, I would prefer somebody pretty, you know what I'm saying? But like, I get how I look. Can I get kind of my looks? Like, I'm just trying to make it, yo. I'm just trying to get to the end, really. I don't really care about all that other stuff. Like, that's the majority of us. But no one's talking about that. So we got to get rid of this extremism taken as the base when it's not. We got to start putting some of this in its place. I think for the future relationships to be successful. Next topic for you guys, just to kind of keep going into your soul, kind of reach out and touch those topics that you're probably thinking about just like me, and just, want to make sure everyone's getting to have that voice, that thing I talked about in the very beginning, where let's talk about all the real stuff, man. So next topic is the Hollywood montage. Oh yeah, that BS. What do I mean by the Hollywood montage? Well, it's the thing that Hollywood loves to do where they'll show off whoever the archetype is, whoever the hero is, or whoever, right? The main character gets tragedy happens and learns a lesson, and then bam, has to figure out how to change life. And once they figure out how their plan's going to go, they enact it. And then they jump to 20 years later. Yeah. That 20 years, is that person doing that same thing to get to where they want day in, day out, every minute of every day for the last 20 years. That would be a really boring movie to watch. And that's why they call it the Hollywood montage. Because the boring part, the most struggle, where all the work happens, all of it, all the work to get to be the successful, better person that you're trying to be, all that work happens in that 20 years. But that's boring. So they don't show you that. So if you feel like that right now, guess what? You're in the right place. You're doing it. What's your Hollywood montage look like? I know what mine looks like. Wake up, choose whether or not to eat, because, I'm trying to eat dinner later or not. I mean, I got to pick one now. I grind out a day of work, pass out, do it again. Like, I don't know how many of y'all got the same Hollywood montage right now. But there it is. But every once in a while, I'll figure out some time. I'll buy some back of my time and record an episode or put something into me that I need for my health. But it's never that part of the Hollywood montage. We got to go to the gym, lift them weights every day, doing it. Hollywood montage, man. So what's yours? What's it look like? Are you a commuter? You drive to work. I mean, not a lot of us are doing that anymore, but if you're a commuter, you know what's up. Traffic is nightmare, but you do it every day. Every single day. Here's what I want you guys to look at, though, for this Hollywood montage. Okay, this is one of those things I want you guys to understand you're not alone about. Okay, if you're a commuter, check this out. Look to your left. Look at that guy staring off into the abyss, just like you were a second ago. He's doing it too. He's grinding out his day of work. He's gonna make sure he gets his food, his bills paid. He's gonna make sure his family's taken care of. He's got that look, man. He's locked into the abyss. And you know what's up. You know what time it is. How about that girl to your right? Because her song just came on. She starts, she's getting it. Because the best part of her day just happened. Randomly, the playlist came through. Yeah. Now you got to sing to your song, screaming it. Because got to take them victories where you can, man. Exactly. How about yourself? What are you doing right now? Listening to my podcast. Appreciate it. That's what you're doing. You're getting this, you're not alone, man. You're getting it in. Or you're listening to some university podcast, or you're listening to a TED Talk, or, man, this is something y'all got to try. Let's try this. Let's give you guys a challenge. Okay? Let's give you guys a challenge. How long can you go driving in your car with dead silence? How long can you go? I do some of the best thinking like that, man. I swear. I know people think I'm a psychopath when that happens, but I'll drive an hour, 2 hours. No music, no podcast, nothing. In silence. Me and my thoughts. It's, kind of therapeutic when you just got to sit there and be with yourself. I challenge y'all to do that. Start with like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Okay? It's really rough the first couple times you do it. I'm not gonna lie. But once you figure out that you can conquer some demons that way. Actually, you have some real good talks with yourself that way. So take advantage, man. That's a challenge for y'all. Next thing. This topic's kind of fun. I want you guys to take a step back. Okay? Because we just talked about the future relationships. We just talked about the Hollywood montage. And kind of want to round it out with forging yourself. How you doing forging yourself? I know it's a strong question. And I'm really meaning it for you guys to just think about it. Let it be meta. How are you doing forging yourself? Because here's the thing, man. The world is in a lot of darkness, and stars are only visible in darkness. If you know the song. It's a good song. But it's true. Stars are only visible in darkness. So where you at? How you doing forging yourself? What's your soul screaming at you about? What's that thing you're not paying attention to that is just every day soul out here screaming at you? Do it. Look at me, whatever this thing is. Sometimes you got to take that step back and let it just attack you a little bit, you know? Pay attention to what your body's saying, what your mind's saying, what your soul's saying to yourself. We only get this one life, y'all. We only get this one life. And we're all just trying to make it. However which way we can, however which way we can best get it done. That's what we're all doing. Some of us want to be superstars. Some of us want to be rock stars. Some of y'all want to be teachers and pilots and carpenters and whatever it is. You want to be something. Don't quit on that something. Okay? Forge yourself into that person. And it starts by paying attention to what your soul's saying to you. Pay attention to yourself, your feelings, your mind, your energy. Like, you got to make sure that you got you on point. Otherwise, you're going to miss some pretty key upgrades. You're going to miss some pretty key checkpoints. And it's going to take longer to get where you want to go, unfortunately. And then, man, like, when was the last time? Oh, man, I think about this every day. When was the last time you swore to your gods? Like, if you're a Christian, when was the last time you yelled at God for some of the stuff that's going on? If you're Hindu, Buddhism, if you got gods or some sort of spirituality, when was the last time you turned around and started cussing at them and asking them real questions like, yo, expletive is going on? Like, when was the last time you took that power back? Because gods are only powerful when they're worshipped. That's how it works. They get all their power from those they worship. That's just because if they didn't have worshipers, they wouldn't exist, right? There would be no power there, or they wouldn't try to exert it. There wouldn't be no energy. There would be nothing, right? So I'm not saying don't quit your spirituality. I'm not harping on anybody who has spirituality like that. But at the same time, you got to understand, you're the one out here doing the work. Unless you believe in destiny, in which case you're really just you're pinballing it through life. And which, hey, that's your prerogative. Destiny and fate kind of work the same, I get it. And I'm not knocking it. It's a way of life. I'm not knocking it. But at the same time, that power exists because you are still here. You are still existing. You are still the one supposedly making those choices. So when was the last time you took back some of that power and yelled at these people who are supposed to be helping you out? Hey, where the help at? I know y'all see it. And don't give me that, well, they got bigger things to do because, they're supernatural and they can't be. Well, then why are we out here talking about them? If they don't need us, we don't need them. Like, if that's what it is, that's what it is. So don't be afraid, man. Don't be afraid to take back some of that power. Give yourself that clarity. Give yourself that space. Because you are doing the work. You are getting it done. I mean, and even take it a step further. I do this for myself. What can you do for yourself today? Give yourself like a victory today. What can you do for you today? Is it getting a pumpkin spice latte because it's that kind of season? Is it crushing it at the gym with your headphones on blast because you want it and you can get it done no matter who's looking at you? Is it finishing that book? What is it? What can you do for yourself today? Not tomorrow, not someday, because someday is never. Don't ever try to use that word someday. Someday never comes, just so you know. It's always going to be someday. What are you doing for yourself today? What are you doing for yourself today? I'll tell you what I'm going to do for myself today. It's a little different and kind of wraps up our whole topics for today. And ultimately, man, it's something kind of special, right? These things that we used to do as human beings that we are kind of gotten away from, but kind of need. I'm talking about catharsis. I'm talking about doing things that are cathartic, doing things that allow you to get closure in your life on things that if you can't heal from something until you get the thing healed, like closed up, you got to sew it up, and then it'll start healing. Like you got to do it. Cathartic things. So the thing I came across was a message in a bottle. And there are some cool stories out there where the message in the bottle floated into somebody's hands by chance, and the universe aligns, and it's just one of those serendipitous things, right? We do that already. Like social media and the internet has kind of replaced that and kind of given people a monetized way of doing message in a bottle. But I don't want to do that, man. I want to go back to old school. Maybe modernize it a little bit. But, you know, writing a letter and then sending it out in the ether. Say what you want to say to whoever it is you want to say, however it is you got to say it. Put it in a bottle, cork it, toss it into the abyss, to the ethos, the ether, the ocean, into the vastness, and let it just lie. It'll get where it needs to go or it won't. It'll get handled or it won't. But it's not yours anymore. You did everything you could, and then you just sent it on its way, hoping, praying, and ultimately accepting whatever happens, happens, right? So the message in the bottle that I'm going to do, and I want to do it on the channel, I want to do it digitally because that's how I want to do it. And you don't have to do it this way. I'm going to give you guys some bonus. I'm going to go ahead and give you my letter. And like, just so you guys know, it is that vulnerability to just let it go free, to put your soul into it, to give yourself the closure, to put a stamp on it, and then let it go. There's some cathartic about it. So this is what I did. I wrote this letter because, you know, it's hard out here for a single man and trying to navigate life, trying to find that partner, right? It's just, it's one of those things, right? And it's really been on my mind. It's really been one of those top 2, top 3 things that, you know, I want it to happen, but I can't keep focusing life on this path, right? There's too many things that I'm trying to accomplish, and there's too many signs for me as a person to ignore. Like, yo, I gotta let this thing go. Like, what I'm doing right now with the podcast, with the book, with my brother, like this path is taking off, and I just gotta let this weight go. So I'm gonna put this message in the bottle, and I did. So here's a letter that I put away, and I'm gonna send it out to the ethos. I'm gonna send it out to the internet, and it is a letter to my beloved darling. The world has taken too much time from us. I know our future isn't set, and I might never realize the priceless memories yet to be experienced. I'm so sorry, as I've been selfish in my ambition, building an empire for family, gathering resources for comfort and ease, forging legacy in chaos, has kept me on the path of success. I truly long for the moments hidden from the world, utterly drawn in as the sun sets on the horizon. We embrace the peace, holding that moment. Ribbons of color paint the sky and clouds. Oranges, reds, highlights of purple and blue dance across time. To just know in that moment the spectacular and joyful fulfillment of life. My soul is weaker now from battles and war. My bones sing from long experience. So I commit this letter to the infinite unknowable. My hopes, my dreams, my very being cast this message in a bottle on the path to you. May the universe connect us on this path to happiness. Until we meet my beloved darling. Signed, Mr. King. So that's my message in a bottle. Okay? I know, intense. But that's what I gotta do. I gotta let it ride. I can't let this derail me from the success I see in front of me. I can't let this want of mine, give me false hope and keep me off this path, man. Because there's some crazy things happening in my future, and I know it's going to be amazing. So I can't get off that path, and I just gotta let it go. So what's your message in a bottle? What's that letter you gotta send? What's the thing you need to say, and just put it in a bottle, and just cast it out and just let it be done, right? What's that thing you just gotta let go of? And it will come back if it's meant to, right? And then, just to kind of give you guys another question, kind of balance this out, maybe bring you back to the reality a little bit, stop gut checking you some. I was surprised today when my friend asked me what schoolyard games I miss. Man, and I didn't even think about it until really I was like, oh my goodness, there's so many games that I used to play when I was a kid. There's so many things that I loved. So I want to ask y'all, what's your favorite schoolyard game? Like, what's the one where you would go to recess and that bell rang, you went right to? You didn't even hesitate. It was that one. That one for me, number one, was tetherball. I don't know if y'all know nothing about tetherball, but that is my game. Okay? Tetherball is where it's at. I could do that for hours if you let me. I swear. It is one of the best games for physics to learn. It is one of the hottest rivalries I've ever had was in tetherball. It is so much fun. And then I got to thinking, what else? What else I got out here? We got Foursquare. Oh, Foursquare was nasty. I mean, we kind of got it now, but there's like a trampoline involved. But like, that's kind of like hardcore Foursquare, I guess. But like Foursquare. Ooh, Foursquare was great. I swear. Because if you knew what you were doing, you could mess somebody up. And then with the old school red balls, okay? The ones where if you got hit in the face in dodgeball, like you got an imprint and it hurt, like you felt like you got slapped, those ones. Okay? That's how you got to play with those ones. Those ones got some weight to them. I loved it. What else, man? What else? What other schoolyard games can you think of that you missed? I mean, there was one game that we used to play. It was called Suicides. You had to do it with a tennis ball. Woo! Man, you learned agility real quick in that game. That game used to mess people up, but it was funny though too. Same time, I don't know if these kids nowadays can handle games like that. I don't know. Maybe if we taught them, maybe if they wanted to learn, I'll mess somebody up in tetherball. Let's get a tetherball tournament going. I'm down. Who's down? See how many people we can get into it. Turn it into NCAA of tetherball. Let's do it. Okay? All right, y'all. That is the show for today. Thank you so much for participating in this, what was emotional and hopefully soul-touching episode. I want you guys to understand you're not alone. We're all thinking the same thing. We're all just not talking about it. So here in the IRL Nation, it is a safe place for you guys to just let it out. Okay? Just let it out. Let it be. Let it ride. Let's talk about that real stuff that we want to talk about. Because that's the only way we're going to create the change for society that we're looking for. All right, y'all. Remember, you're not alone. Thank you so much for participating as always. And we'll catch you on the flip. See ya.